Kia ora, severe weather warnings in place once again for Westland, with heavy rainfall set to return as we head through the nighttime Friday in towards Saturday. A short burst, but of really intense rainfall adding to those already wet conditions down there and those already very high rivers. It's not just Westland. We're going to find severe weather watches in many parts of that western coast and also some strengthening winds as well. But the rainfall, you can see, arrives by the end of Friday, sticks with us through the nighttime. Really heavy bursts of rainfall through Westland and up in towards Buller and in towards that Tasman area. Overnight, we see that transfers across on towards the North Island. We've got some watches as well for Mount Taranaki and the Aotearoa range. But the heaviest rainfall likely to be down through Westland. So this rain that arrives will be as we go through Friday night, and it sticks with us through in towards Saturday morning. So the heaviest rain probably going to be in the early hours of Saturday morning, and that's where we could find some really intense bursts of rainfall, as much as 40 to 50 millimetres of rainfall in an hour. So it really is going to be a really intense burst of rain. And like I say, it's a combination of that really intense rainfall on top of all that wet weather we've had recently on the western coast, which may well cause us more problems and bring some widespread impacts through parts of Westland. We have got, though, severe weather warnings for Westland, also in towards Buller and those western parts of the Tasman district. You can also see we've got watches through parts of Fiordland, also up in towards the headwaters of Otago and Canterbury. Watches as well for rainfall through the Grey District even, and also watches up on towards the Aotearoa range and Mount Taranaki. Now these ones up on the North Island are going to be for Saturday morning. Everyone else starting off down the south during Friday night and then moving it through the nighttime as that band of wet weather moves northwards. The heaviest rainfall, though, will be in Westland. And that's where you're going to find that rainfall really pushing in towards the ranges. Now, rainfall amounts could be as much as around about 150 to 200 millimetres of rain up about the ranges. Now, it's worth saying that's not nearly as much rain as we saw last time, but this time frame is significantly shorter. So it's a short burst of really intense, really heavy rainfall coming through on top of already wet ground and already high rivers. So it may well be a case that we see more impacts with this rainfall than we saw last time. But it could well bring some flooding, and it could well bring some slips as well. Now, the heaviest rainfall likely to be down towards places like the glaciers, down towards Franz Josef and Fox glaciers. We could find as much as 250 millimetres of rainfall through there. Lesser amounts down towards the coast, but still a fair amount of rainfall through there. And the heaviest rainfall, those really intense period of rain, possibly during Saturday morning. Now, it is worth saying, while this first area of wet weather clears away, there is another period of heavy rain possible for those areas around about the glaciers and southwards as we head towards the end of the day on Saturday and during Sunday. So it's well worth keeping an eye on the forecast right through this week. And as well as keeping updated with the forecast, keep up to date with the information from your local emergency management teams as well. Could well be seeing some more flooding, especially down towards areas like the glaciers, as we head through the rest of Friday and in towards that very early part of Saturday morning. We've also got heavy rain warnings in place for Buller and also those western parts of the Tasman district. Now, rainfall amounts here more likely to be in the region of 70 to 100 millimetres of rainfall, so not as much. But again, you can see it's those short time periods. So it's as we go through the early part of Saturday morning and that rain moves northwards. Well worth keeping a close eye on that. This rain will be adding into some fairly high rivers, and we may well find them rising rapidly with those really intense periods of rain, especially for Saturday morning. May well already bring some slips and slides and some surface flooding in those areas which are already quite vulnerable. And of course, it will be making those hazardous driving conditions hazardous on the roads as well. So take extra care and leave extra time for planning as well. But do avoid the waterways, especially as we go through the night time tonight. Along with that wet weather, we're also going to be finding some strengthening winds as well around places like Westland and Fiordland and even towards parts of say south, and we'll find those winds picking up as we head through the evening time on Friday. Further north up towards places like the Canterbury High Country and in towards the likes of Wellington, it's going to be as we go beyond midnight and in towards Saturday morning. But the strongest winds are likely to be found in that Canterbury High Country area. That's where we've got our severe weather warning for those winds from midnight tonight, midnight Friday through till 8 a.m. on Saturday. We could find our winds reaching gale or even severe gale in the most exposed areas and our gusts of wind perhaps even 120 kilometres per hour. So it will be a blustery story through there. We've also got the risk of perhaps those winds reaching severe gale in the most exposed areas through those other areas covered by those watches. As we head through the next couple of days, we'll find this front clears away. So an improving story down across parts of Westland and the northern parts of the South Island. You can see we've got more wet weather down towards the glaciers, so still worth keeping an eye on the forecast there. And as we head through Sunday, low pressure over the Tasman Sea runs towards the North Island. Could well find some more thunderstorms in the mix there and some heavier rainfall for a time across the North Island. Well worth keeping an eye on the forecast as this front runs back across the likes of, say, Northland and Auckland overnight Sunday into Monday. We could find a burst of showers and thunderstorms with that. So well worth keeping an eye on the forecast. Things are looking better for the rest of anniversary weekend for the likes of, say, Northland and Auckland from Monday. And for Nelson, it's not looking like a bad time for you once we get that rain out of the way on Friday night and Saturday morning. As always, you can find the latest forecasts and updates on these watches and warnings at MetService.com.